All right, so welcome to the live stream. Tonight we're printing some more of our holiday cards, which are reductive lino cuts. And I printed off camera this reflection in the water, which is a darker color than the previous color. But there needs to be something else done to this print. It's not finished yet. So I was thinking I'd put a moon in the sky. You know, why not? We got all the snow going on and trees. I figured a nice little moon and a little bit of reflection in the water would be a nice little addition. So I was going to put a little light in the distance, like a little cabin off in the distance with a little reflection, but I don't think it's enough. So I'm going with a moon in the sky. So we'll start with that today. I just have a light yellow color with a lot of white. And I made up this little jig for the areas that we're going to be working with today. So 2 small moon shapes and a little bit of reflection in the water. I'm working on an angled bench today because I'm tired of bending over and hurting my back. So normally when I print Mokahanga, I'm printing on this bench, but because this is linoleum, I don't know, for some reason I always just print flat. So I just put some a pad underneath it so it doesn't slip, and it seems to be working fine. So I need to save my back. These are tiny little pieces that I'm printing tonight. So here we go. Here's the first one. These were just little images that I made from my sketchbook. I just used some watercolors. I didn't think too much about the design. And thinking back on it now, I wish I would have spent some more time designing it. I was trying to turn a easy print into, using a sketch, a simple sketch, and turning it into an easy print. But this has gone on for a couple weeks now, and it's turning into a not so easy print, and it's becoming more and more complicated as I go along. But it's interesting, and there's a lot of snow going on, and I think this little moon addition is a nice little way to finish. So because this is angled downward, I just have to make sure I touch the paper to the ink so it doesn't slide. So just do that first. I'm using a traditional Mokahanga Baron. This paper I'm using is so thin you can actually see you can still see the pigment coming through after all of those layers of ink. And there we go, we have a little yellow moon and some small yellow reflections in the water. I think that's a nice little addition to finish off this little holiday print or holiday card. So yeah, I made this little jig this afternoon. It's just on a piece of cardboard, and I cut out some smaller pieces of linoleum. And then I just traced on the back of one of my prints where I wanted the moons to be. And I looked through the window as the light was shining through. I could see through this design. And I just traced the little snowflakes, and I just transferred the image onto these little pieces of linoleum with some graphite paper. And originally I had the moons much larger, as you can see here. And this one was positioned weird in the tree. And this one was a little bit too big as well. So I reduced the moon size. Here's another one here where I had the moons very large, weirdly placed. And this is the smaller. And this one's a little bit more of a white color, and these are a little bit warmer. And I might change the color of the moon slightly as I move along. And this one's a lighter version too, more white color. This is on a thicker printmaking paper. So I have a couple different papers that I'm working with. So I'm kind of liking that lighter color. So I'm going to start adding some more white into this mixture. Way too much ink on my roller at the moment. So yeah, I usually do these live streams at noon during the week. So I figured I'd do one tonight. While I'm printing, I have about 20 sheets left to go. And I figured I would just turn on the camera, see if anyone shows up. So my normal crew that watches me during the week in the afternoon, they might not be here today. There's a snowy evening scene. So I mostly do these live streams for the replays so people can watch. I also document my process. Every step along the way I document it mostly with a live stream. At least that's what I've been doing lately. And it's nice when people buy prints from me. I can refer them to watch my replays and they can see the prints that they purchased. They can see how the prints were made. So I can tell them watch episode or watch live stream number 35 to number 40, and you can see how that print is made. So here we go. Little moon areas going on in the sky here. It's not the most successful print that I've made, but it was just a fun little project. I started it by wanting to make a simple YouTube video, how to make a simple reductive linocut holiday card, but it turned out to be much more complex and way too difficult probably for me to make that video. So it's turned into something else. I didn't really plan for this print. I just kind of started making it. So we'll see if anyone joins us tonight. I know everyone's probably just sitting down to finish dinner, probably watching television. winding down for the day or for the evening. I wonder what happens when I print this twice. I'm going to print these moons twice to see if it makes it a little bit lighter. Although I kind of like it hazy in the distance. So I'm not going to actually do that. I don't want it to stand out too much. Just wanted to sit in the distance through the snow. So we got our first comment from Daniel. Will this print be available to purchase? I might throw some on my website for people that are interested. I don't know, for people that have been following along. I will be sending some of these to just some friends and family. And I was going to give some away to some people. But yeah, I could throw some of these on my website. Printed about 100 of these. Because this is a reductive print, I probably will number them as a limited edition. So this one's much more snowy. The trees aren't as heavy. They're a little bit kind of thin. And these trees are kind of darker, and you know, I didn't really spend too much time designing these trees. They're kind of funny looking, aren't they? But you know, it is what it is, and it's a nice little fun project. Last year for this print project, I carved a reproduction of a Dürer, Albrecht Dürer print. It was like a nativity scene, and it was very intense carving for 3 weeks straight just to print a single color, which was black. And that was a real interesting project for me. Really test my carving abilities. And this year I just wanted to do something fun and simple. So I just did a quick little watercolor sketch in my notebook, and I just transferred it to the block, and I figured we'll make a print out of this. Yeah, so printing these holiday cards, Daniel, this is how I started printmaking. This was the first few things that I made, and they were with linoleum, and I was using the back of a wooden spoon to print with. You can still do that. I could do that with this because there's such a small area here. So I could take like a back of a wooden spoon, or this is my palette knife, and you could just rub the back of the print this way. You have to just be careful not to miss the edge. So this, now I'm using a Baron. But yeah, this is how I got started with printmaking, is making holiday cards for friends and family. Pam. What's up, Pam? Pam, I'm adding a moon to the scene because it needed something special. It needed a focal point. I didn't spend too much time designing this print, so I was at a loss, and I was like, well, I'm just going to throw a moon in there. So Pam, I printed this darker color as the shadow in the water, or the reflection in the water. I did that off camera. And I was gonna put a light in here in the distance and then like have a little reflection, but it just wasn't enough. So I figured I'd put a moon in the sky, you know, because this print was so successful at my exhibition. This beautiful print with a moon in the sky. I said, why not put another moon in this print? It's just when in doubt, put a moon in the sky. The moon was bigger at first. It was much too big, as you can see. And then I had to, and this was positioned weird in this tree. So I had to reduce it in scale. And that's what I'm currently printing now. So here we are. This is the print. I think it'll be finished at this point. You can see a little bit of the reflection in the water. I put some reflections in the water. It's kind of a silly, fun print. Nothing too serious. But this was a fun little project. I had no expectations. I didn't design it. I didn't sit down and figure out what I wanted to do with it. I just kind of made it as I went along. So this is kind of a fun little project. Last live stream I had someone comment that my microphone wasn't on. So if you ever hear that my audio is lower than normal or you can't hear me very well, just let me know and I'll check my microphone. Anyone that's out there. And I did get a new microphone recently, so I'm still kind of figuring out how it works. And it's not as loud, or it doesn't pick up my voice as well as the other one. So I'm still trying to figure out how to work with it properly. So these are two prints in one. So I'm going to cut this paper here, and they're slightly different, and I'll have two varieties of pretty much the same idea, the same print. And yeah, I made this little jig, Pam, if you're still here, and this little piece of cardboard, and I accidentally dipped the cardboard into some acrylic paint that I was working with today. I got it all over my bench. Made quite a mess. I just glued down these little pieces of linoleum where I needed them to be. Yeah, it's not blood. It's just acrylic paint. That's doing on the other card paper, the cotton paper, which is the thicker paper. The ink sits on top of this much more differently than the thin paper. So let's do one on this. Let's see how it turns out. And I have these terrible overhead lights on right now, so you're getting this strange glare. It's a lot different than when I stream with the natural light coming through. So this is let's take a look at this. So these are the two papers I'm using. A little bit different. This paper is very thin. It's like a mulberry paper or a Thai Kozo paper. You can actually see through the back of it. It's very similar to Mokuhanga. When you print on these thin papers, the ink actually goes right through still. You can see the yellow coming through the paper. It's unsized, so there's no glue in the paper. And then this is like a traditional printmaking cardstock. It's 100% cotton, which I prefer to use these thinner papers, but this does have a, you want the ink to sit on top a little bit more. It has a much more vibrant look to it. So it's just a preference, or depending on the project, you pick the paper that works best, I guess. So it's not too interesting tonight. It's just the finishing of another print. But it's always exciting to finish a print because then we get to work on something new. And I don't know what I'm going to be working on next. I don't have that figured out yet. Probably should work on a couple prints that I need to print for Jed Henry. I've been putting that off for over a year now. Max, what's up, Max? Glad you joined us. Yeah, I don't usually do these in the evening, so it is a miracle. You get to see me finish this print that you saw me working on the other day. If you're just joining us now, I decided to put a moon in the sky to finish off the print. The print needed something else, needed a focal point. So a little moon, which the moon in the sky doesn't actually make too much sense, because if it was snowing this much, you wouldn't see the moon. It'd be gray and overcast. But we can say that the snowstorm is moving through, the clouds are breaking, and the moon is coming out. And these are just the last little snowfalls, or the last little flurry of snow coming down. But I don't know if anyone thinks about stuff like that when they look at a print. But you usually don't see a clear moon while it's snowing out. But anything's possible. Or maybe it's just a windy, the wind picked up and is blowing some snowflakes around from another tree or something. Who knows? But we needed a focal point in this print, and now we have a warmer color in the sky, and we got a couple little yellowy reflections in the water. And that will finish off this print. I need to turn my card around. I have about 20 more sheets to go, or 25 more sheets to go. So I'll be doing this for a little while still. Oh, you're in Arizona. Yeah, you don't get to see too much snow in Arizona. Daniel? I'm from Buffalo, New York originally, so I know all about snow. So maybe that's why I was thinking about it, the logistics behind it. But it doesn't matter. It's a made-up print. It's a made-up design. Yeah, it's all about design and aesthetics, and you know, we got to do whatever we have to do to make the print work, especially at this stage. I was getting frustrated because I was talking to my wife and my son about it. I'm like, man, I always ask my son, I said, I go, are these good? Is this a good print? I was showing him these prints. I was like, which one's better? He's like, that's a good one, Dad. Oh, you're in Cochise County? Oh, man. I've been there. I've been rock climbing in Mount Lemon, and I've always wanted to go to the Cochise Stronghold. I was actually planning a trip there right before COVID, and our plane got canceled like last minute. Like we were actually going to go to the airport and hop on a plane, and then the next day, like all the airports shut down. So I'm glad we didn't go because we would have been stuck in Arizona. But I've climbed in Mount Lemon in Tucson, and Tucson's really cool. I like it there. They definitely get snow up on Mount Lemon, that's for sure, because it's a high elevation. Yeah, I'd like to get back to Arizona. Check out some climbing at Cochise. Those domes are amazing. Yeah, that's the question. Which one do you like better? Because that's what I was asking my son. Which one of these is better? And he's like, I don't know, Dad. He's like, this one has too much snow. He said, and he goes, this one's probably better. But I like the shapes of these trees. There's like a tall, a medium, and a smaller tree. This kind of shape of trees is kind of just this round, like a little bit too similar. These are at least are a little bit, offset, and there's a little bit of negative space. And I didn't spend any time designing this. I just literally made quick little watercolor sketch, and then I just took that and glued it right down. Made up all the snow, made up the shapes and everything. So this is totally just, this is like a sketchbook reductive woodblock print. So this is just like a sketch, but using reductive linoleum as the medium. And it came out okay. It was a good practice. Good little project to test my ability to make a successful print out of just the random sketch, my sketchbook. I could have easily sat down and drew way better trees and islands and water, distant mountains, but I wanted it to be simple. Like I said, I wanted to make a YouTube video about how to easily make a holiday linocut card. But this is much too complex to be simple. I was also experimenting more with my Dremel tool. So I got all these interesting little textures in there from my Dremel tool, which is pretty cool. Been experimenting with that. So yeah, which one do you like better? I'll have to put this on my, Instagram, or I'll put this on my YouTube channel as a poll, and you can pick which one you think is better. I can also see that I could print this area down here better and hit this area very well. I'm just going to lay this back down and print that again. No, it was just straight from my head. I just made it up. So Max likes the print where the branch is covering the moon. This one, the one that has more snow. So this is the more snow, this is less snow. This one feels a bit jarring. Yeah, the little shapes and the edges, like sharp, kind of jagged. So like a little bit of aggressive. These trees have some character to them. They're more aggressive, I guess. And these trees are kind of just grouped together, and they're a little bit more friendly. But really, if you're thinking about pine trees, they're both pretty bad drawings of pine trees, if you ask me. So Max, you like the one on the right better, but you like the moon covered by the branch. I did want to cover this moon by these branches, but I kind of positioned it strangely. So I actually had to shrink the moon. This is the first one, and the moon was way too big. These were the first ones, and for some reason, I wanted the moon to be over more, and it ended up being right in the elbow of this branch, and I said, that is so weird. And they were way too big. So I reduced the size of them because I don't want to like start over. So I just made them smaller, and I just moved the moon out a little bit more. And this one I kept it covered by the branch. But yeah, I like the overlap of the branch. So you can kind of like pick and choose certain elements from each one. That are working better than the next. My idea was to just make a YouTube video like how to make an easy linocut holiday card. 3 easy steps. Like step 1, cut away the snow, print it. Step 2, cut away the sky, print it. Step 2, cut away the distant mountain. All right, 4 easy steps. Step 4, cut away the tree, and then have it like a really simple tutorial of like how to make a holiday card. But I realized it got way too complex too quick. So I'll still make the YouTube video, and I'll probably describe how I turn something easy into something complex. But it's still a very easy design, really. It's not that complicated. Yes, it's a bit late. But if they start on it now, they might have it ready for next year. I can save it for next year. I'll save this video for next year. I'll publish it around October, or no, November. Beginning of November, right after Halloween, I'll publish it, because that seems to be when all of the Christmas stuff comes out nowadays, just right after Halloween. It goes straight from Halloween to Christmas. So I'll publish it right after Halloween next year. Yeah, moonrise on that one. You know, I could do that. I could move it. I could move this easily if you wanted to check that out and see how it works. But yeah, I was saying like keep it really low. I was thinking about that too. We could try that. Who mentioned that? Oh, Max. Yeah, that's a good idea. We can try that. See how it works. See, I'm up for these interesting ideas and trying new things. This print isn't too, I'm not too invested in making this print. I did want to make them a little bit varied along the way, so they're not all exactly the same. I changed the colors as I was going along. But yeah, kind of positioning it down here more. Let's see what he says. Get the reveal from behind the trees. So you're saying get it down here right as it clears the, and then it has the room to go up like that. Is that what you're saying? So I can't, well, it's actually this one. So I can move this down. I can move it down and I can move it into this negative space. I could do that. I just have to cut this. Just have to cut this out and then position it, which we can do easily. So if you want to stick around, Max, not James, I could do that real quick. That'd be fun. Let's improvise. Just need to grab a tool and some tape. So I'm going to cut this out. I can always put it back. I'm going to cut a square. That's what's great about using this cardstock, this cardboard. It's called chipboard. I can take this out, move it to where I want it to be, and if I don't like it, I can always just put it back, tape it down. So this is actually a great little jig. Yes, bookbinding. This is pretty much what I think it's used for, mostly. But I mean, you can use it for anything. I use it to pack my or ship my prints. I sandwich my prints in between it because it's nice and like it's not gonna get something punctures through the box. It's not gonna puncture through this something sharp. This is a razor blade, so it's very good for packing my prints. So now we just have to figure out where we want it to be. So I'm going to take, not a good print, I have this this one from earlier on. I'm going to want it to be right about here, I think. Somewhere about there. So we'll do one here. Tape it down right there and we'll see how that works. I'm going to use some double-sided tape. Double-sided tape is amazing. So I want to mark where this is so I know where it is exactly. So when I put the tape on, I can put it right back. So I'll just trace this cardboard shape. Move it a little. Right there. Get my double-sided tape. Probably only need one piece. This stuff is really strong. All right. Let's get my printing bench back over here. With my blood all over it. I had an accident earlier. Carving accident. Made a YouTube video about it. And let's try this out. The only thing is that this is a little bit higher now. So I just have to be careful when I'm printing this because this is a little higher. So I have to just be careful. Let's try this out. It's best to try these things out on a print that's not so... I mean, this print is already wasted. This was the first one. with the moon that was too big. So let's do it on this first to see what it looks like. See if it's positioned properly. That might be too close to the margin. It's pretty much right in the negative space. What do you think? Should it go lower? The only problem is that now the moon is not lined up with the reflection in the water. That's the only problem. So yeah, I don't know if that's gonna work. I forgot about the reflection. I could move it over. So I can't move it into the trees because then the moon will overlap the trees and that'll look strange. So I could move the reflection pieces over slightly as well. You know, why not? But we gotta position this moon properly. Can you buy this test print? This one with the double moons, you like that, huh? What's Pam saying? Pam's saying no, don't do it. Too much work. Yeah, you're right, Pam. You're right, Pam. It is too much work. But we tried. We tried something different. He likes the double moon. Yeah, it is pretty cool. Can make like can make it where I move the moon a little bit every time, and it'll look like the moon is rising. How about I do that one for you, James? Or I'm sorry, Max. All right, so we're gonna put it back into the hole. I'm just gonna keep it where it's at. But that was a fun little experiment. When Pam tells me no, then that means no. Listen to Pam. So we just simply tape that back up and like nothing ever happened. But that is a fun little idea. I would like to maybe do something like that where I print the moon rising or the sun rising and have it appear like it's moving up and up and up and up. That'd be kind of cool. Send me your find me on Instagram, Max, and DM me, and I'll give me your address. He's banned from Instagram. You can email me if you go to my website and send me a message through my website, and you can communicate with me that way if you're banned from Instagram. So now our moon is back where it was in this little spot up here. Just want to print this a little bit nicer here. My bench is printing bench is crooked a little. That seems better.